Oh my god, my new bedroom is so cute. There is a bedroom remodel video coming out soon. It's so pretty. But first, I guess I should just be excited about this video, this lovely video that has been very requested by you. And I don't know what I thumbnailed and titled this, but just to be clear, this is not gonna be a fitness advice video. I'm not a health expert. I don't have like crazy nutrition advice to give you. I'm just gonna share my story about how I got bloated to hell. Like seriously, I looked 6 months pregnant every single morning, waking up before I even ate anything or drank anything. I also gained 20 pounds over the course of 2 years. These are separate issues, I later found out, but they happened. And then I have since then been able to diagnose the problem, get rid of the bloat, and lose 15 of those 20 pounds in 6 weeks. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Nikki. I don't usually make videos like this. I think this is gonna be really therapeutic. I'm ready for it. My body is ready for it. My de-bloated body is ready for it. How about that? How about them apples? Can't eat apples, don't give them to me. We'll get to that. So quick backstory, this started towards the end of 2016 when I started getting severely bloated out of nowhere. My clothes weren't fitting right, it was very uncomfortable, and it was pretty bad timing because I was getting married towards the middle of 2017 and I was doing everything possible to get in the best shape of my life. God. In preparation for this wedding, at the beginning of 2017, I hired a personal trainer. I was spending hundreds of dollars on meal plans and meal preps and all of that stuff. I was doing crazy intense HIIT workouts, cardio, the whole nine, and nothing was working. And in fact, I gained weight during that time.
It won't close. It's a 5.
And I was like, am I broken? Is my body not a wonderland, but a broken land? John Mayer, please advise. So my mild hypochondria had me doing massive Google searches at this time, and it turns out that bloating can be caused by a variety of things. Not drinking enough water, drinking too much water, eating too much sodium, not getting enough sleep, starchy carbs, alcohol, food allergies, the list goes on and on and on. And then like at the darker end, leaky gut and thyroid issues and all that stuff. So one by one, I crossed them off. And guys, I was doing everything. I was sleeping 8 hours a day. I was drinking 70 to 80 ounces of water at least a day. I was exercising. I was walking. I was doing meditation. I was doing all the things that they told me to do in the Google searches. And for those of you who think I drink a lot of alcohol, I do not. I drink once a week, usually 1 or 2 drinks on the weekend. I just so happen to film my videos while I'm drinking them most of the time. But I even cut out alcohol for like a couple months leading up to my wedding, just in case that was the kicker that was doing me in bloating wise. Turns out, nope, it wasn't. I was tracking all of my food, and at one point I was so scared to eat anything because everything seemed to be making me bloated that I was only consuming like 500 to 800 calories a day. That's like borderline eating disorder, and I've had an eating disorder before. I've fully recovered from that period, and I swore I would never go back to that period in time. And so I was like, this is not okay. So I started eating normal calories again. I tried a variety of different diets. I tried low carb, high protein, high carb, low fat. I tried fat, low carb, the keto diet, but not one diet ever worked. I like really drove myself insane during this period of time trying to figure it out. And this was over the course of all of 2017 and then most of 2018 until I like just kind of gave up. I was honestly like so sad about it. It felt like I didn't have control over my own body. And this is why I say I'm not shaming my old self. I'm not shaming like my body back then. It was just the fact that I didn't know why it was happening. And I'm the type of person that I just need to know why. I just need to know. If you tell me like, oh, it's cause that's just what happens when you get older, which at one point I kind of believed. I was like, maybe I just need to accept my fate that I'm like an old person now and I'm just gonna be bloated forever. At least that would be an answer for me, and then my brain could rest. I could understand if I was gaining a bunch of weight from like eating junk food and sitting on my ass all day, but I was eating so clean and working so hard, and I was so disciplined, it almost felt like the harder I tried, the worse it got, which made me want to pull all of my hair out. every single hair. You're welcome, I didn't do it. Towards the end of last year, 2018, and the beginning of this year, 2019, I just about completely lost motivation to work out, and I really felt hopeless as far as solutions were concerned, but I was like, I'm gonna make one last run of it. So my last push of Google searches, YouTube searches, and just really trying to find anyone who was going through a similar thing as me and like what they did to fix it led me to thinking that I might have candida, which is a yeast overgrowth in your gut, and it can lead to like leaky gut, and like it can also go up here and come out as oral thrush, which I did not have, but I thought matching all the symptoms, I thought maybe it's candida. So at the beginning of this year, I scheduled a doctor's appointment to get tested for candida. And if you're at this point, you're wondering like, why didn't you just schedule an appointment with a doctor in the beginning? It's because I did not have health insurance before. I got health insurance in 2018, and it's like the shittiest healthcare plan of all time and space. It's $600 a month, and there's a $12,000 deductible. It costs $100 for office visits. It's pretty ridiculous. I fucking hate it. I hate it so much, oh my God. Ask me how much I hate it. So much. Also on top of that, at this time, I thought I could still fix it maybe with diet and exercise. So it took me 6 weeks to get an appointment with my primary care physician who I'd never met before. And over the phone, I was like, hey, I want to get tested for candida. They're like, cool. I waited 6 weeks to get in there. I finally got in there, and they were like, yeah, we don't test for candida. And I was like, why? Why would you let this appointment happen? But while I was there, I tried to make the most of it and rule out everything else. So I had him do blood tests. I tested for food allergies. I tested for vitamin deficiencies. I tested for thyroid problems. I tested for my blood pressure. I tested for every possible other thing that could be wrong in my body other than gut health. And to my relief slash never-ending frustration, all of my test results came back completely normal. Like I was like right down the middle on every single category. Thyroid was okay, checked out, no food allergies at all. So I was like, cool, well that's good that my body is working well in those departments, but what the fuck is wrong with me then? And the doctor was like, hey, maybe you should schedule an appointment with a gastroenterologist. And so he recommended me one, but that wasn't covered because my health insurance sucks ass holes. So I had to find another doctor that was covered, and that took a bit of time. Then I finally got in there and I was like, hey, I'm here to test for candida. And he was like, we don't test for candida here. He was Russian. I can't do a Russian accent, but that's as close as you're gonna get. He did a couple things where like he knocked on like my stomach where it was bloated and stuff. He was like, oh yeah, you have a lot of methane in there in your small intestine. You have SIBO. And I was like, the fuck is SIBO? So I had to get tested for SIBO. It was $900 because my health insurance didn't cover it. Are you surprised? But at least I found out what it was. It was SIBO. So I started to get to work on a solution. Yay! Before I get into the solution, just to catch you up, for those of you who have never heard of SIBO before, SIBO, it stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It's very sexy. I talked about it really briefly in my What I Ate in a Day video, and it set me on this path of learning about gut health for the past few months. Let me explain it to you how I understand it. Again, not a health expert, will probably mess this up a little bit, but this is what I gather. So your gut flora is supposed to be pretty in balance, right? So you have your good bacteria and your bad bacteria, and they fight each other and they keep it pretty balanced. Sometimes your diet or certain medications completely throw off your gut flora, and that's when problems occur. When you take antibiotics, which I had been taking at least twice a year for I don't even remember how many years, I have chronic UTIs and tonsil infections that I try to keep at bay, but they tend to come back at least once a year. The antibiotics that are used to treat UTIs and tonsil infections completely wipe out all of your gut bacteria. So then when it tries to build back, sometimes it grows back in an unbalanced way, where the bad bacteria grow faster than the good bacteria, and then they kind of like take over and they destroy everything in your body. It's great. On top of that, certain foods will feed the bacteria, most notably sugar, grains, like starchy carbs, those kinds of foods. Bacteria love that. And in 2016, when I said this all started, I had just taken back-to-back antibiotics because I had a UTI and a tonsil infection back-to-back. It was a fun time, yay me. I was also trying a plant-based diet for the very first time ever during this time, and I don't know if you remember 2016, a lot of us would like to forget. One of the trends was Freely the Banana Girl, who was telling everybody to like smash a bunch of carbs.
I want maximum carbs.
So I was smashing a bunch of carbs after taking back-to-back antibiotics, and that is what I believe threw off the gut flora in my gut. Not hating on either one of those separately, I think antibiotics were very critical in helping me get rid of those infections, and I also think that if you eat certain foods when your gut is healthy, it's totally fine. But those in conjunction with each other was a disaster. I just want to put that out there, that I'm not against either one of those. It's just that, why the fuck doesn't anyone tell you about this shit? Like, why don't they tell you that, like, hey, you could like throw off your gut balance if you eat antibiotics and don't replenish the good bacteria with probiotics? Why doesn't anyone tell you that? Oh! And then when you go research a bunch of videos, you just get a bunch of like search results that tell you that you just aren't doing diet and exercise right. And that's the part that really pisses me off. So I developed SIBO, bacteria that crept up into my small intestine where it's not supposed to be. That was like the wrong side of town for that bacteria. And the solution to it is the next part of the problem. The way the medical industry wants you to get rid of SIBO is, get this, with more antibiotics. It's pretty nuts on your gut, and there's only about a 50% success rate with it. And because I'm on the shittiest health insurance program alive, it wasn't covered, and it would cost me well over $2,000. Nikki, why don't you get rid of this really shitty health insurance? I want to. I have to wait till open enrollment period.
There are a lot of options for freelance people, even during that time. It all sucks.
I digress. So I researched alternate solutions because mama ain't gonna spend $2,000 if she don't have to. And I actually found out that the herbal remedy for SIBO takes a little bit longer to work, but it has a little bit higher of a success rate at 51%. And people that don't have success using it and then go try the antibiotics have an 80% success rate. So I was like, yeah, let's start with that one, the one that isn't $1,000,000. Let's do that one. So at the end of April 2019, I dove deep into that herbal supplement route. And that in combination with a low FODMAPs diet and intermittent fasting, which I'm still kind of pretty much doing still. The herbal remedy I went with was a kit that I purchased from a doctor online who had also healed his own SIBO, so I kind of trusted that. It also got a lot of good reviews. And the kit included a food list, which I included in my What I Ate in a Day video. I broke a lot of those rules in that video, and I'm so sorry I did that because I shouldn't have done that. Like, I ate garlic and onion in that video because I was like, hey, it's not a big deal, it's a huge deal. In this kit, there were antimicrobials to flush out the bad bacteria. There were probiotics that don't contain prebiotics because prebiotics feed the bacteria, and you don't want that. That'll make you even more bloated. It had a multivitamin, a digestive enzyme, a gut repair powder, which was basically glutamine to like repair your gut lining after all of that. And I also took oil of oregano and acrylic acid, which I had like researched before purchasing this kit. I'll leave a link to the kit that I found. I am not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by it, but it actually did really help. The doctor guy that had made this kit had also mentioned in one of his videos that you should do intermittent fasting in conjunction with a low FODMAPs diet. So I did that. Let's talk about intermittent fasting because that was a game changer. Intermittent fasting is when you go 14 to 16 hours without eating, and then you eat all of your food within an 8 to 10 hour window of time. So I went the 16-hour route because I really just wanted to kill this thing. So I would start eating at 12 noon every day, and then I would stop eating at 8 p.m. So then you get that full 16 hours until the next day at 12 noon. Intermittent fasting allows your digestive system to completely do its thing without being interrupted by more meals. It's especially important when you're dealing with things like SIBO because you don't want things to ferment in your gut, which will happen if you start consuming more food when your digestive system hasn't digested this food down here. It's like, oh no, we gotta start a new project. I also noticed that I wasn't fatigued throughout the day like I normally am. Digesting food takes a lot of your body's energy. So if you're eating a lot of meals or you're you're snacking on food throughout the day, which I thought was speeding up your metabolism, turns out it's like completely slowing you down. That being said, it was my first time going that long without food, and I was really concerned about not having enough energy. So I changed my exercise regimen to just walking. So I would do 2 walks a day, at least 20 minutes each, 1 in the morning and 1 at night, or I would go on a light run for 3 miles, like at a 5.5 to 6 speed. The weird thing is I used to not count walking as exercise because it's so simple, and like I always felt like, ooh, you gotta be like pushing yourself and your body like really hard for it to count as exercise, or else like you're not gonna burn anything, you're not gonna see progress, you're not gonna see results. I really bought into that whole like thing that the like motivational exercise people always do, like, oh, come on, you gotta feel the burn and stuff. Like, I really was pushing myself before. I used to be so motherfucking disciplined, and none of that worked. After I changed my workout to be just walking, I lost 10 pounds in the first month. And that is not, I'm not saying that that's like that for everybody. Everybody's body is different, but holy shit, I did not need to be exerting myself so hard before. After I made that what I ate in a day video back in May, I actually made an appointment with a registered dietitian who specializes in gut health, because I just wanted to make sure I was like going in the right direction. You know, like at this point I had done everything just on my own, based on my own Google searches and research, and testing for SIBO, but I didn't have anyone like telling me this is exactly what you have to do, because I didn't go with like the medical route with the antibiotics. It took about a month to get a spot with her, and by the time I came in, I had already made significant progress with bloating and lost 10 pounds. So she took me off of the antimicrobials and we retested for SIBO. But during this initial consultation, she was really focused on stress management. LOL, I have none. I was working on 3 different channels, 2 different podcasts. I was auditioning for projects and also acting in different projects, and I had no less than 2 side projects going on at any given time, while trying to maintain a relationship and a social life, and staying on top of finances and health issues. And you know what? I really wondered why I'd always have panic attacks and feel exhausted all the time. She told me that stress actually plays a huge role in your body's digestive system. It can block digestion altogether. It can stop absorption of vitamins. It can make your membranes permeable and susceptible to diseases and all kinds of stupid stuff. Basically, your body doesn't know if you're stressed out about a lion chasing you or if you just like forgot to pay a bill on time. So it goes into full on, and not everybody's body does this, but my body went into like full on survival mode. It was like, here, let me pump you up with some cortisol, get you some layers of fat that you're really gonna need to survive this storm that we're going through. Cool? Yeah, thanks stress. There's also different types of stress, which I was unaware of. There's the mental stress, like from work and all the stuff that I was aware of. There's physical stress from doing like high intensity cardio workouts, high intensity strength training workouts, any sort of physical labor. There's environmental stress from our bodies having to filter the really bad air quality that's in Los Angeles. And then there's hormone stress. I had just gotten off of birth control pills 2 years ago and gained 5 pounds immediately. So woo, stress, yeah, cool, I had a lot of it. I started prioritizing mental health and well-being over deadlines and making sure videos get up on time and making sure I have everything perfect for my auditions and all of this stuff. I started delegating work to like editing, I got an editor for a sticky show. All the things that I really thought were making me more productive were actually killing me. So I stopped them. I'm still trying to stop them. It's very counterintuitive. Turns out like successful people who like allow themselves to rest are actually more efficient and productive in the long run. Everybody, go take some naps. I still feel this wave of guilt though when I'm carving out self-care time or like creative time or like any sort of time that doesn't involve me like running around like a chicken with its head cut off. But I'm learning. When I switched my workouts from that high intensity to just walking, it actually allowed my body to de-stress and lose weight. And just a reminder, like I said in the beginning, everybody's body is different. This is not a health advice video. I'm just telling you what happened for me. Some people do need to push themselves in working out. Some people maybe could use a little extra motivation. I think I am just like too motivated and then I burn out really quickly. So the retest results came back in a few weeks and I am currently SIBO free. Yay! But don't celebrate too hard because SIBO has a tendency to come back for people. So I have to be really, really careful during this time. It's like I'm now in this phase of like rebuilding my gut and reintroducing foods back into my diet. It's been quite a process and kind of exciting reintroducing foods like sweet potatoes. I can eat sweet potatoes again, and that's like really exciting. I'm like so grateful to be able to eat all these foods that were super boring before, but I totally took them for granted, and I'm so sorry I did that, and I'm so excited to be able to eat foods again. I'm so sorry, asparagus. I also started adding in some light strength training back into my workouts, like yoga and like things that are just body weight. Nothing too stressful, okay? My little baby body, it can't get too stressed out. But yeah, it's really just been about listening to my body. And now for the results part of the video, which I'm sure you've been waiting for. Maybe you've even skipped to this part. I know I did in a lot of the videos that I watched when I was trying to solve my problems. I'm gonna show you these pictures, and this is not to like brag or like be like, look at what I did. This is really just because I thought it wasn't possible to happen. And if anyone else is going through this and feels crazy bloated, like they can't get rid of it, I just want you to know that there is still hope out there. I really had almost given up completely, and so if this helps you, awesome. Also, I'm just like super happy to have my body back. I'm like so pumped. So this is a picture of me from the end of 2018 in December. It was from a girls trip we did in Mexico. This was taken in like first thing in the morning, like before we even went to breakfast or anything. I had not consumed any food. This is a completely empty stomach, and I'm not shaming my body in this photo. I'm just saying that this amount of bloating was not normal for me, and that is what I woke up to pretty much every morning for the past 3 years. This is a photo that I took in July of this year, 2019. It's the first time that I wore a bikini in 3 years because of the bloating stuff. And this photo I took last week and is the first time I ever wore a crop top ever, like in my life. I did wear this yellow one, but this year is the first year I've ever worn a crop top. I've always been self-conscious about my stomach, and it's never been like a flat stomach. And that's just me, you know, that was like my problem area. And I'm not wearing crop tops now because I think I'm so skinny or because I hit my goal weight or anything like that. I'm honestly just so happy to have my body back, and I'm like celebrating it. And this is the first time I've ever felt that way ever in my life. I'm actually back down to the weight that I was pissed about getting up to 2 years ago. But this time, I'm seeing it in a whole new light, and I'm so happy. It's really brought me to this new place of self-love and like, I love my body. You know, I get all the memes now, I get the hashtags. I just want to treat her right. I just want to take care of her. My self-confidence has started returning, which, hello old friend, I haven't seen you in like 5 years. Hi, you ghosted me like years ago. And I think all of the self-discovery that's happened because of this terrible thing was like kind of meant to happen, because I have like this newfound appreciation for my body. Another thing is I'd never tracked inches before. I didn't even have like a measuring tape, but then I was watching, around this time I was watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and she measures every part of her body, and I was like, you know what, I just want to see, I just want to track it. I'm starting this new diet, I'm gonna track it. And it turns out I lost 15 pounds, but then 3 inches off my waist, 3 inches off my bust, which was, I lost some boobs, but whatever. 3 inches off my hips, and this one is actually the most surprising to me. I lost 2.5 inches off of each thigh. So that's like 5 inches total, and I never really paid attention to my thighs or ever cared, but like, yeah, it actually made a huge difference in the way my clothes fit. And then I lost 1 inch off of my neck. Oh, and I gained 1 inch on my calves. Probably from the walking and the running. Yeah, anyway, so I'm sharing this with you because I really didn't think it was possible. At one point, I thought that maybe it had to do with age or genetics and there was nothing I could do about it. Turns out that gut health is like a huge thing, and a lot of people think that it's just like a trend that's happening right now, I think because it's new. But there's actually tons of research that is out there right now to support that your gut and your mind might be linked, and that makes a lot of sense, because when my gut was all bananas, my mind was going bananas too, and now not so much. And that's very anecdotal, I understand, but you can do your own research on that. I've personally just been blown away by it. Honestly, like the main point of making this video is that I really just wish I had seen something like this before watching the 1,000,000 diet and exercise videos and beating myself up for it not working. The end. I hope that helps you. Let me know if it did. Let me know if I missed anything. Are there questions you want to know? Leave them in the comments. I would love to help you. Oh, I posted some of the recipes that I've been eating on the low FODMAPs diet on the latest Tasty Tuesday video. If you want to check those out, you could go make those. They're really delicious, I think, for someone that's on a diet. Like this video if it was helpful. I'm sorry that it was long. I don't do a lot of these like long talking videos. In fact, I can't remember any time I've done a long talking video. Never have I done a long talking video unless it was a podcast. But there's that. Subscribe so you don't miss any of this. And I will see you next time, hopefully with my bedroom remodel video. Ooh, get hype. It's gonna slap. Did I say that right? We gotta go. Bye.